All right, let's count it down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please rise in body and or spirit for our opening hymn or gathering hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. We especially want to welcome all of you today, and especially our visitors, both here in person as well as live streamed through YouTube, whether that's in the moment now or later in the week when you are watching this. We invite our visitors to participate in any events at the UUs of Sarasota, and we encourage you to find out more about Unitarian Universalism. We encourage you to register on our online virtual guest book, which is on the home site, our website, uusrq.org. And if you're in person, there actually is a welcome desk with a written form you can fill out right outside the sanctuary. And if you do, if you sign up, you will get a weekly email with our newsletter about all the events here, and then also some Zoom links for programming that we have. And as well, of course, there's always coffee and some desserts after service. And today is a potluck. Even if you haven't brought anything, please join us. It's a way that we come together and get to know each other better. We have a couple of announcements. Today's service is being led by our Ministerial Intern, Helen, Dingus. And also a couple of events coming up this week I just wanted to make you aware of. UUSRQ is part of a 10 days of anti-racism education and action. And we will be offering 2 events here on Monday night. We will have the Foundations of Racial Equity Monday night from 6:30 to 8. And then on Tuesday, we have an event coming together in community, building resilience and making an impact. And that's Tuesday from 7 to 9. You can check in at the social justice table at the other end of the courtyard after service. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that Thursday night I am leading an adult RE class on world religion. This month is Islam. And as well, Thursday night is a democracy action team at 7 o'clock. Where they will be talking with the UU the Vote people from the UUA. And March 24th, put it on your calendars now, you don't want to miss it. We are going to be having our annual meeting after the service, where we will be voting not only on board members, but our mission and vision and our annual budget. And speaking of our annual budget, we are meeting, the Finance Committee will be meeting this week to put together the final budget. And, a lot of that is predicated on pledges. So if you have not pledged, or if you're feeling generous and want to double your pledge maybe, I want you to consider that a sacred event, as I like to say. And but please, if you can always pledge any time during the year, but it just helps us now so we know how to plan for the year when we do our budget. So please consider pledging if you have not. And now, without further ado, we will do some music.
This hymn that we're about to sing was written by one of our very own members, Fred Saraski. He's here today, I think. Fred, give us a wave. Stand up. You'll see the words. It's going to talk about our principles. And so we wanted to sing it for you first and see how you liked it.
Spilling the Light by Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. Some people are used to keeping rules. Don't cross the street when the light is red. Only sensible. It turns out that keeping rules isn't the same as keeping covenant, which asks us, instead of keeping a bright line, to keep our promises. To what have we promised ourselves? To this moment in time, to this community, and even tenderly interconnected, this planet. We promise ourselves to the idea that we are each and all human beings. We promise that there is something moving between us that we cannot tame and cannot measure. The chalice is a reminder that what flame we keep inside us cannot light the way. The light must spill to shine. The thing you must be is yourself, unadulterated, shedding the willingness to journey alone as though you are made of something hard and unforgivable. You are human. You belong right here and right now. And together, we will chase away the sickness, the secrets, and leave only the open possibility that the future is a space for growth. As we light our chalice, please join me in affirming the value of pluralism from the proposed Article 2, which is printed on your order of service and will be displayed on the screen behind me. As we light the chalice, we celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology.
down a little bit. I'm a little shorter today. I don't know what happened. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I read this book. Hopefully it'll show up behind me, during our time for all ages. And at the end of that book, I stated it covered everything we needed to know about love, which was much more than the romantic love we often think about in the month of February. So when I saw the title to today's service, What's Love Got to Do with It?, my first thought was the Tina Turner song by that same title, which is probably not kid-friendly, nor what this sermon is about today. And my second thought was, well, how am I going to, find a children's book about love when I just read the best book ever a few weeks ago? So I thought, okay, so where love resides in our proposed use principles, which we'll be voting on by all of our UU congregations throughout America in June this year, why, it's at the center. So I wonder, is there a good children's book about what is at your center? So I went down the Google rabbit trail, like I normally do, just to find the right book. But alas, while there were many books about all kinds of social, emotional skills that we want our children to understand, none seemed to fit today's topic. And then I remembered a Facebook post that I recently saw that I wanted to share with you today. So a group of professional people posed this question to a group of 4 to 8-year-olds. What does love mean? And the answers they got were broader and deeper and more profound than anyone could have imagined. When my grandmother got arthritis, she couldn't bend over and paint her toenails anymore. So my grandfather does it for her all the time, even when his hands get arthritis too. That's love. From Rebecca, age 8. When someone loves you, the way they say your name is different. You just know that your name is safe in their mouth. From Billy, age 4. Love is when you go out to eat and give somebody most of your French fries without making them give you any of theirs. That was from Chrissy, age 6. Love is what makes you smile when you're tired. Terry, age 4. Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas if you stop opening presents and just listen. Wow. That was from Bobby, age 7. If you want to learn to love better, you should start with a friend you hate. That was from Nika, age 6. And I think we need a few million more Nikas on this planet. Love is like a little old woman and a little old man who are still friends even after they know each other so well. That was from Tommy, age 6. During my piano recital, I was on stage and I was scared. I looked at all the people watching me and I saw my daddy waving and smiling. He was the only one doing that. I wasn't scared anymore. Cindy, age 8. My mommy loves me more than anybody. You don't see anyone else kissing me to sleep at night. That was from Claire, age 6. Love is when mommy sees daddy smelly and sweaty and still says he's handsomer than Robert Redford. That was from Chris, age 7. Love is when your puppy licks your face even after you've left him home alone all day. That was from Marianne, age 4. I know my older sister loves me because she gives me all her old clothes and has to go out and buy new ones. Lauren, age 4. Lauren, you got some learning to do, girl. Love is when mommy sees daddy on the toilet and she doesn't think it's gross. That was from Mark, age 6. You really shouldn't say I love you unless you mean it. But if you mean it, you should say it a lot because people forget. Jessica, age 8. And the final one. A 4-year-old child whose next-door neighbor was an elderly gentleman who had recently lost his wife. Upon seeing the man cry, the little boy went into the old gentleman's yard, climbed onto his lap, and just sat there. And when his mom asked him what he had said to the neighbor, the little boy said, "Nothing. I just helped him cry." So our children do see and feel so much more than we give them credit for. And all of these expressions of love have a common thread. They all see the humanity in each of us, the vulnerability, the need for care, in joyful times and angry times and in sad times, for each other and for ourselves and for this beautiful world. Love is at the core of each of us, and children express it so simply because they've not been hardened by life's trials, the false narratives, and the hard words that abound around us each day. So, many of us have become like Tootsie Pops. Do you remember those? Hard, brittle shells on the outside, but chocolatey goodness on the inside. It is what is in our inside and at our very core that counts. So if the word love at the center of our revised values resonates with you as either a Christian love or a humanist love or a transcendentalist love, it is all the same. It is where our new values get their strength. The same strength that our own Reverend Jay Woolens showed at our recent Sarasota school board meeting to show compassion and solidarity with the LGBTQ+ and all those being oppressed by taking a knee and bowing his head during a board member's tirade. Those are our values in action. So, to paraphrase a Samuel L. Jackson in these famous commercials, compassionate love, what's at your center? I now invite our children and youth to join their teachers in their classrooms, and if you're new, no worries. Come join me outside and I'll show you the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Now I have a meditation on love by Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Dr. Michael Tino. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. How do we put love at the center of our lives? What does it mean to practice a spiritual discipline of love? Let us take a moment to think about how love operates in our lives, how it operates in our actions. What are the questions you ask yourself as you decide what to do? What do I need? What do others need? What is necessary? What is demanded of me by forces outside of my control? What is right? What is just? What would change if we asked ourselves, what is loving? What does love call me to do in this moment? What action would increase love in this world the most? How am I living my commitment to love with my decision? As a spiritual discipline, love must be a practice. It must be something we return to again and again. It must be something we fail at sometimes. something we learn to get better at over time. How are you learning to love better? How are we learning this as a community? How can we commit ourselves to love? Good morning. My name is Helen Dingus, and I serve the congregation of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota as the Ministerial Intern. Every year, the congregations and communities of the Unitarian Universalist Association gather for General Assembly, which is our annual meeting and conference. In 2020, the co-moderators charged a new commission to review and update Article 2, the part of the UUA bylaws that includes the principles and sources that we often include in our weekly chalice lightings. The bylaws get periodic review, but the immediate impetus behind the Article 2 Study Commission was a couple of things. There were a number of attempts to review or change parts of Article 2 over the years, and there was a committee on the appraisal of our institution that put out a very large report called Widening the Circle. In 2020, then co-moderator Elandria Williams gave the charge at the online General Assembly, which began, "The Article 2 Study Commission is hereby charged to review Article 2 of the UUA bylaws and propose any revisions that will enable our UUA, our member congregations, and our covenanted communities to be a relevant and powerful force for spiritual and moral growth, healing, and justice. Proposed changes should articulate core UU theological values. The board believes that one core theological value shared widely among UUs is love." The following year, the collected delegates at General Assembly, again online, voted for a responsive resolution asking the Article 2 Commission and the board to ensure proposed changes to Article 2 include in the principles a clear and direct statement that accountable, systemic, anti-racist, and anti-oppressive actions to build beloved community are part of what it means to be Unitarian Universalist. Personally, I love our principles. When I walked into a Unitarian Universalist sanctuary for the first time, they were displayed on the walls. They were one of the first signs that I had found my religious community. I'm sure we've all had different experiences with coming into Unitarian Universalism. A few of us were even born and raised Unitarian Universalist. But we all found something that spoke to us, something that hit our core. I know that as I keep going in my journey in Unitarian Universalism, I keep learning more. And my introduction to that kind of learning was as a parent volunteer in children's religious education. I remember working with the class on remembering shorter versions of our principles. And I still can't remember all the words or the numbers they belong to. But as Reverend Dr. Michael Tino of the Church of the Larger Fellowship wrote in the Quest newsletter last year, one of the defining characteristics of our Unitarian Universalist faith is that ours is a living tradition. We do not etch our faith in stone precisely because we hold sacred that it must change. It must adapt to new challenges. It must meet new understandings, and it must evolve based on new experiences and connections. And so, the Article 2 Commission has spent the last few years connecting with Unitarian Universalists in a variety of ways to help them determine what is most important to UUs and how to approach their task. This process has resulted in this new Article 2 language with values that Unitarian Universalists identified as meaningful. These values are interdependence, transformation, justice, equity, pluralism, and generosity. Please, be as generous as you can today. For those online or those here on your cell phone, there is a link to donate in the description of the YouTube video or on our website right under the description of today's service. Let this sacred time begin. These are excerpts from the charge to the Article II Study Commission by Mr. Barb Grieve and Alandria Williams, then co-moderators of the UUA. Our commitment to personal, institutional, and cultural change rooted in anti-oppression, anti-racism, and multiculturalism values and practices is love in action and should be centered in any revision of Article 2. The new principles and purposes should guide us in the transformation of ourselves, our communities, and our faith into active networks of collective care, restoration, and justice. The principles and purposes you will prepare should be a living document that challenges Unitarian Universalists to place liberation in all its dimensions of all at the center of our lives. They should be honest about our past, name what we are facing and our aspirations, and where we hope to be, not just today, but looking out at the horizons. They should ask us to choose love in action as the path forward. There is nothing sacred about the number of principles or sources, nor their specific wordings, nor in the way that Article 2 is laid out. We encourage creativity. The board would like to see an Article 2 that is inspirational, memorable, and poetic. The language should be inclusive and welcoming and explicitly anti-racist.
Everybody make it big and bright. Shine your light. Shine your light. Shine your light. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. Shine your light. Shine your light. Shine your light. Everybody make it big and bright. Shine your light. Take it on your journey, everywhere you go. Take it to the mountain, take it to the valley low. Let your brother see it, and your sister too. Each of us will be there, a bright above and shine like you. Shine your light, shine your light. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. Shine your light. Shine your light, shine your light. Everybody make it big and bright. Shine your light.
Take it to a neighbor, help in any way. Take it to a stranger, love with all you do and say. Be a light to follow, be a light to lead.
Show your friends and family, take it high and let them see. Shine your light, shine your light. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. Shine your light, shine your light, shine your light. Everybody make it big and bright. Shine your light. We can shine together.
Thank you. That was wonderful. It's not every congregation that gets original music from members to inspire us. Thank you all. Do we see ourselves in our principles? Do we see ourselves in the value statements in the new proposed Article 2 language? Do we value interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity? And if we do, how do we show it? What actions are we taking? Well, just look at everything the Racial Justice Coordinating Team is doing. We are the host site for a lynching memorial based on the Equal Justice Initiative's Community Remembrance Project work to bring the racial violence of our past into our historical narrative. The team continues to develop educational opportunities for learning about being anti-racist, including this year's reading and discussion of the book Mistakes and Miracles. There is also ongoing collaboration with Black, Indigenous, and people of color-led community organizations in Sarasota and with other anti-racism organizations in Southwest Florida. In addition to the Racial Justice Coordinating Team, social justice here is wide-ranging. There is a green team working on environmental concerns, the reproductive justice team working in a challenging time for women and people with uteruses, and many, many more. Our Community of Communities team is working to foster connection and interdependence between the many committees, teams, and small groups that make up our congregation. Our worship committee and Minister Jay Wolin bring us Sunday morning worship from diverse sources of wisdom and inspiration. And our small groups give us the opportunity to build bonds in our pluralist community through listening to each other for mutual understanding. The Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota is a vibrant, active community where each person's interests, talents, and resources can be contributed in a variety of ways. Now, sometimes we have a little trouble with the idea that what we have now is maybe not what we need in the future, and it can be hard to see that. I know that my teenage son is decluttering his bedroom. He's taking his toys and his children's books and removing those he doesn't identify with as much anymore. In his life, he has been in a fairly stable home situation until the most recent years. He has lived in the same house. His first real encounter with death of a loved one was a cat. And then his grandmother. His grandmother died, and since her death, his life has been less stable, but he does still feel safe enough to let go of his older things and make room for new. When I was a teenager, I packed away all my toys and I kept my childhood books. When I was a child, we moved often. My dad worked all kinds of hours because he was on call. He wasn't a doctor, he repaired x-ray equipment. And he often moved to the next place where the company transferred him months before we did, because my mother wouldn't move us during the school year, because she didn't want us to have that level of disruption. And although my parents didn't divorce, as was common in my generation, I lacked my son's sense of stability. I felt a need to keep my childhood through my toys, books, and other belongings. There was a sense that I would be losing something important, even though I wasn't using any of them anymore. Do we feel safe in the comfort of our Unitarian Universalism, in the comfort of Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota? Are we ready to embrace the future, whether that ends up being the 8 principles or the 6 values? The world is always changing. Do we want that change to be centered in love? Do we side with love? In our social justice actions, do we believe that love is a powerful force for good? So, what does it look like to center love in the values of love, of justice, generosity, equity, and transformation? What happens to those values without love? Otis Moss III wrote, "The danger of love without justice is that it becomes sentimental, even appeasing. Love without justice would have taken no lasting action, brought no change. But justice without love can become ruthless, an eye for an eye. That kind of justice risks continuing the cycle of hatred and reprisal that can tear down a community. Justice without love destroys. It was the combination of love and justice that set young Howard Thurman, his future student Martin Luther King Jr., and the American Civil Rights Movement on a path toward the light. What is interdependence without love? What does it look like? It looks like codependence. It looks like dependence. It looks like control. With love, interdependence becomes community, even a community of communities. Pluralism without love is diverse, yes, but it can look a lot like segregation or separate but equal. Tolerating others as long as they don't get too close. But with love, pluralism becomes a multicultural, multi-religious, and multi-generational community working together for everyone to learn and grow. Our joy can be being part of a community that can work together to change the world, to promote all kinds of justice, to promote equity, everyone having a fair chance. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life and humility. We acknowledge our place in it. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence centers interdependence and love. There is a section in the proposed Article 2 that is titled Inclusion. It reads, "Systems of power, privilege, and oppression have traditionally created barriers for persons and groups with particular identities, ages, abilities, and histories. We pledge to replace such barriers with ever-widening circles of solidarity and mutual respect. We strive to be an association of congregations that truly welcome all persons who share our values. We commit to being an association of congregations that empowers and enhances everyone's participation, especially those with historically marginalized identities." I don't know about you, but the new Article 2 still sounds like a religion that I want to be part of. Yes, the principles definitely were a part of my decision-making process in joining a Unitarian Universalist congregation. But I'm excited by this new wording. It inspires me, and I hope that it inspires you. Please join me in singing our closing hymn, number 318, "We Would Be One."
Thank
Love is hard. Love for people, especially those who are different from you. Love that says, I see you as a person. Love that says, let your unique light shine in the world, because each of our souls touches the divine mystery. Love that says, we're on a journey together, and my fate is tied up with yours. Love that grabs you and won't let you go until your whole life is dedicated to siding with love. Love that changes the world. Love is hard. Do it anyway. Before we extinguish the chalice, I would like to invite anyone interested in learning more about the proposed changes to the UUA Article 2 to bring your potluck lunch into the read room for a casual question and answer session. I'll also mention that the third class on Article 2 that Catherine Bonner and I have been leading will be on Zoom this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And now, we'll extinguish our chalice. The words on the screen. Not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for coming for my second sermon here.